Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema. Sit down, you're probably like, Seaman, where in the hell are you? Well, it's really rainy in Port Chester right now. So, like, back there is the AMC. Over here is Michael's. But I went to the movies, and it's real rainy, so I was like, let me find a covering and a spot that's well lit, and I found one. I think it's got to serve its purpose, because I just saw maybe my favorite movie of the year. I was expecting to really, really love this movie. I'm a big Ben Affleck fan. I'm going to just put that out in front. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I really dig this dude from an acting standpoint, from a directing standpoint, from a producing standpoint. I'm a big Ben Affleck guy. So I had high hopes. I was hearing good things. I did not think that this was going to be like one of my favorite movies of the year, but this is right there with freaking Scream 6 and with John Wick 4. This movie freaking ruled, and I'm so glad that I had an early screener that AMC was doing today on Saturday, because my Thursday is going to be quite busy with the Mets home opener. I'm also glad that I have an early access screening for Super Mario Brothers, but we're not here to talk about any of that stuff. We're here to talk about this movie that Ben Affleck directed that freaking rules. What am I talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat? We are getting ready to dive in, spoiler-free and fresh out the theater after seeing Air. And I think there's I keep just calling it Air, but just Air. I think the Courting of a Legend was what was on like all the posters. And that's the cool thing that I really dig about this movie is, like, you know, if you're a basketball fan, if you're a shoe fan, you know the Air Jordan. And what's cool is, like, this movie ain't got nothing to do with basketball, while it has everything to do with basketball and with Michael Jordan, who is, spoilers, in the movie, but literally the casting call had to be like, looking for a young Michael Jordan lookalike from the back. You only see the back of his head. Sometimes you get like a little bit of like the backside profile. But, you know, like, he's there because he has to physically be there. But this movie is not about Michael Jordan. This movie is not about basketball. This movie is about Sonny Vaccaro and how he gambled everything to get Michael Jordan to sign to Nike, who at the time in the basketball shoe world was like one of the lowest like Converse and Adidas were both ahead. And in the running game, like, that was where Nike, it's funny because, like, you forget, like, Nike was a running shoe because Jordan made it a basketball shoe. And it's crazy to see, like, how it ranked below the other shoe companies at basketball, and then within its first year, how they made so much money from the Air Jordan. But that's the thing, like, this is a really, really simple movie. Sonny Vaccaro gambles everything because he sees the future for Michael Jordan. And that moment in the movie, and there's lots of moments like this in the movie, but there are, like, moments where, like, things happen that, like, in that moment, all of history just changed. And Vaccaro realizing what Jordan was going to be, watching a videotape, is one of the most riveting scenes in the whole movie, and that's the magic trick of this one. That's the thing that has me saying it's one of my favorite movies of the year, which has me and many people going, Ben Affleck is back, baby. My guy was 3 for 3 coming out of the directing gates, right? Like, you look at Gone Baby Gone, then he did The Town, and then he won an Oscar. Well, Argo won the Oscar, which netted him an Oscar for Argo. Then he made, I can't even remember the name of the movie, but he made that gangster movie, which was going on right around when all the Batman stuff was going on and his life was spiraling out. And it's been, I'm pretty sure it's the last movie he directed. And you can tell that Ben is in a good place, because when Ben's in a good place, Ben is one of the best directors in all of Hollywood. And what you're getting with Air is that guy. I've heard a lot of people say Gone Baby Gone. I totally get that. I'm just going to say this guy's back to doing what he does best, and that's making unbelievably good films. I'm like, this is like, you know, nomination worthy for Ben, I would say. My buddy was like, yo, you think the movie will win? Like, it could be nominated for Best Picture? It's so early in the year. It could get, you know, forgotten as you get closer, but it's one of these movies where, like I said, it's so simple, and the movie is literally just a bunch of dudes, more often than not, and occasionally one woman here and there, specifically Viola Davis more often than the other women that are in the movie, but it's like just a bunch of people talking, not doing necessarily a whole lot. There's no action. the most action in the movie comes toward the end, and it's quite funny, and it involves Damon. But like, this is a movie about people talking and making deals, making a deal that revolutionized the sneaker game, and specifically the basketball sneaker game. And yet, Ben makes this movie so engaging, and it has an energy and an electricity to it from the minute it starts, man. And it's not because Ben's doing anything crazy with the camera, although he has some spots where I was like, I really liked what you did there. And that's what you're always gonna get. But it's how he tells the story. And the thing, this movie, I think more than any other movie that I've seen from him, really understanding getting the best out of your actors will produce the best content. And this is a movie about a phenomenal cast. Like, this cast is what makes this thing go. And Ben Affleck and what he's doing behind the camera and what he's doing with the needle drops, James Gunn level needle drops in this. Like, go get the soundtrack right now, man. This thing is so, oh man, like, it's 80s to the max. I love all the 80s drops that he puts in. There's lots of references for young people who are probably wearing Air Jordans but don't know much about the 80s. Like, there's all sorts of stuff in there that he sneaks in, does small little things. And as a kid who was born in the 80s, like, there are just so many things where I literally smiled. I smiled the whole movie. Like, I was just like, dude. And there's comedy. There's so much humor in this movie. Maybe one of the funniest scenes in the entire year will be Matt Damon on a phone talking to Chris Messina. Like, I did not expect this movie to be this funny, and that's what I mean when I say, like, Affleck's figured out the trick of really trusting his talent. The charisma and the charm of all these different actors, and his cast is loaded, but it is loaded in the perfect way. I think every casting here is just spot on. But it's one of those things where it's like the energy that group brings creates a lot of the electricity that Affleck is able to use throughout the movie to really get momentum going that never ever stops. And he makes Sonny Vaccaro the most interesting person on the screen at all times, the easiest person to root for, and like, the outcome of the movie, yet you're on the edge of your seat as you're watching how Vaccaro's gonna land Jordan. And the whole thing is just cool. One of the other things too that I love is, like, there is a magic when Ben and Matt work together, and specifically like on the creative side, and you feel that here. And I love the fact that, like, him and like those two guys plus Chris Tucker's character, and I don't know how long Tucker had been around, but like Bateman's character, there's like a group of them that had been together clearly for a while, and like you get the vibe that these guys are friends. And it's one of the appeals in the movie of Nike. It's just like the vibe that's coming from them in the creative department and the marketing and the leadership. It has a totally different vibe than the other companies. And that like, you just wanted to be boys with that group, man. Like, they seemed like they were a lot of fun. And what's cool is, like, they kind of work in like a back-end origin Nike story toward the end of the movie, where like you're watching it and you're like, just watching them go through the motions of what they're doing. They reference like, oh man, it felt like the old days when they were kind of going through the motions. And it was like, you kind of see how Nike got built. And then they kind of do some stuff at the end where I was like, hey, he stuck a little origin story in there. And I'll tell you what, if you wanted to make a sequel that was just the origin of Nike, I would watch that movie also. Like, that's how electric and entertaining and just engaging this movie and story is start to finish. And like I said, obviously a lot of that goes to Ben. I give a ton of credit, though, to Alex Convery, who's writing here. I think he's got a really solid script, and the dialogue is so strong. That's the type of stuff that allows your actors to, like, really shine. And someone like Chris Tucker or Jason Bateman can probably riff and come up off the cuff, but you never feel like that's the case. Like, a lot of the stuff that's going on feels organic, and that just starts at the script. And like I said, all of that, plus the score and the soundtrack, like, they just tease the actors up to just come in, do their job. And if they do their job right, and honestly, it feels like a movie, like, if you do your job right and you have fun while you're doing your job, you're gonna get really great stuff. And we'll keep going with Affleck, because I'm just crushing right now. he's so damn good. But I love when he is behind the camera and he steps to the side. He's not the main guy. And I like that anytime he pops in, it feels really right. Like, it feels kind of similar to the medieval like times movie. I can't think of it now. The Last Duel that Matt Damon did, where like Affleck pops in a couple times. Here he pops in a little bit more than that, but he's such a good support structure. And like I said, that chemistry and that history between them really works for the two characters, and I think works into the scenes that they're having. And I really like what you get from Affleck as Nike's CEO Phil Knight. Matt Damon, I'm telling you, this dude, and if you didn't know, he's one of the greatest actors in the world. And he's like, it's one of these things where, like, you just sometimes you get movies where you're like, this is the perfect person to be leading this movie. And this is the case for Damon. Like, this felt like it was made for Damon. And he crushes it, man. He makes Sonny Vaccaro the most likable guy in the room, the guy you want to root for, and takes this story that we know turns Nike into this mega corporation powerhouse that just makes billions of dollars off freaking Jordans alone. Like this little, like, engine that could victory. And it's so fun to watch how he pours his heart and soul. Like, the whole thing for me is really seeing how Vaccaro puts it all on the line. And you get that from Damon, which I really, really loved. Jason Bateman, who plays Rob Strasser, who's like the head of marketing. Great. Again, chemistry with him and Damon, the relationship specifically that Vaccaro has with each one of these people in the movie is really the thing that makes it sing. And Bateman's great, man. He knows when to slip the little humor bits in. This role also kind of felt like it was made for him. And I like when, like, you know, you can have Bateman be an a-hole, but you can have him be like a guy that's really running like a company and doing the right things, or his portion of the company doing the right things. But when you're seeing like the behind the scenes where he's with his friends, you know, you kind of, like I said, it feels like it's a bunch of friends running a company, and that's one of the vibes I really love. And I think, you know, Bateman just fits that perfectly. The other big win, like I said, in that group is Chris Tucker, who plays Howard White, who was a, you know, washed up basketball player, but, you know, was very instrumental and key to keep getting Jordan over and keeping Jordan around. And what I love here is, like, and the thing that I love Ben for the most is, like I said, he brings two of my all-time favorite actors, Chris Tucker and Marlon Wayans, back into the spotlight and delivers, like, really excellent stuff for them. Like, he knows how to use both of these guys, where, like, Marlon Wayans gets one scene and I thought he crushed. And Tucker, I mean, like, it's, like, for me, like, supporting nomination type good, man. He's funny, he's natural, and again, just fit. Like, there's a meshness to this group and everybody that Vaccaro interacts with, and it was so refreshing to see Chris Tucker back on screen, like, absolutely killing it. And same with Marlon Wayans, who has, like, a really quick little itty-bitty role playing, I think it's the assistant coach on the Olympics squad, which was another big thing. He was boys with Vaccaro, so that was another thing that helped Jordan go to Nike and kind of flip the script when it looked like he was going to go to Adidas. But yeah, like, those guys are great. And then there are two, like, low-key MVPs for me in this one. Matthew Maher, who plays Peter Moore, who's the guy who actually designed the shoe. Great. Scene stealer. Like, you're in a room with guys who are heavy hitters, and this dude steals almost every scene that he's in. And then I am just a huge, huge fan of Chris Messina, who plays Jordan's agent, David Falk. Has the funniest scene maybe of the entire year with Damon. The phone call, how he operates as an agent, how he fluctuates, and how the conversations change. Watch how they change, and that he has with Sonny. It's a lot of fun, and again, chemistry. Like, it's all about chemistry. These two guys just bounce off each other, like, in a way where during that scene that might be the funniest scene of the year, I think Damon is legit breaking, but it works perfectly in for what's going on in the scene and with the character. Now, last but not least, and certainly not least, and I heard that Michael Jordan requested, like, if you're going to do this, Viola Davis got to play Mama. And I tell you, Viola Davis crushed it as Mrs. Jordan. I like, playing Michael Jordan's mom, like, I just sat there and I was like, man, that boy, you got a smart mama. You know what I mean? And it's one of those, like, I'm a mama's boy. I'll admit it. You know, I'm one of those. And as a mama's boy, you could see where it's just like, yeah, you know, like you could just see, like, Mike and his mom sitting down and talking about how do we go about this, what makes us go to Nike, and what makes us ask the big question that they ask, and the thing that really changes shoes and how they're distributed and who gets what money. Like, there's so many cool little details and things that are laced in, and each actor as a character kind of gets to, you know, be part of that. And Viola Davis is just another one, man. She's just a powerhouse. And that had to be, if that's true, and, like, Jordan was like, Davis had to play his mom, that had to be the easiest yes in the world for Ben Affleck. Like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, we could do that. And then I'm a big Michael Jordan guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if you ask me, I'd tell you he's the greatest player to ever play in the NBA. He maybe is the greatest competitive athlete ever. I mean, like, that's I'm not a Bulls fan, but like that's my dude, man. You gotta love some Michael Jordan. I get into these arguments with my buddies. You know, some people are on that LeBron James train that I really am not on at all. And the thing that I personally really loved about this movie, I think this movie reminds you why Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. And if you didn't think that, you might walk out of this movie going, man, Michael Jordan really was the greatest. And you don't watch him play any basketball in this movie. That's the other thing that I just personally loved. It kind of had that, like, yeah, if you're a Jordan fan, you're going to love this. And if you're a shoe fan, you're going to love this. But from the acting to the electricity in the movie, the energy of the movie, this is an absolute, like, one of the best of the year right out the gate. 2023, keep it rolling this year, man. It's been so good. Why don't we get the C-Maniacs up? Like I said, Affleck back to true form. Absolutely crushing behind the camera. He's great in front. Matt Damon, I mean, just give this guy an award anytime he's on camera. But the whole cast here, I think this cast as an ensemble is really what makes this thing go. And it gives Affleck energy that he utilizes the whole movie. The script is really solid. The dialogue is great. For a movie that's a lot of talking, you're never not engaged. It's more funny than I would have expected. Needle drops galore, and as an 80s fan, oh, they're so good. They're so good. But everything here, man, it's working for me. 4.5 out of 5. There it was. I was like thinking 4 and 5 because 4.5. 4.5 out of 5 C-Maniacs. For Air. I don't know if it's my favorite movie or not right now. I'm not going to say it. But it certainly is going to be right there when we get down to the nitty-gritty, making those decisions at the end of the year. This thing's absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. Loved it so much. I've been talking too much. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. What are you thinking? Did you go catch the sneak peek of Air tonight? If not, are you planning to see it this weekend? If you're going to see it, where are you going to go? Are you going to go to the theaters? Are you going to wait for it on streaming if you're not going to do that? And if you have seen it, what'd you think? Is this the return of Ben Affleck behind the camera, doing Oscar caliber type things? How much fun did you have with this movie? Was it more fun than you expected? Or did you just not dig it? Anything you got, man. Good, bad, indifferent on Air. Put it down below in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer, reactions, you want to just show a little love and support because you haven't yet, well, hey, come join C-Maniac Nation. Super easy. Jump over there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time for the C-Man's Cinema, sit down. I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Air Jordan style. Peace. Oh, you guys are still here. You snuck up on me. You must be looking for more of this guy. Well, I got 2 video options for you, man. Right up here and right over here. And if you want all those C-Man goodies, well, hey, come join the squad right on over there, and I'll catch you on the next one.